Good morning and welcome to another one of my morning mugs. We're gonna try this again. I tried it yesterday, and I ran out of space on the phone, and I went through, deleted like a 23-minute video, and then it only recorded like 2 minutes, and it's just weird stuff. So hopefully it records today. I do have my, it's not peppermint mocha, it's actually white chocolate mocha. We're trying something a little different here. The chocolate espresso that was done up as the Star Wars Darth Vader theme was, it was decent. It was kind of like, there was a little bit of chocolate flavoring to it, and then you had the espresso flavor, which was like coffee on top of the coffee you're already drinking, which was a little odd, but it works. It's not bad. In any case, what I wanted to talk about was Halloween. And just go into some different Halloween stories. I don't know how much time I have. It's already kind of been a little bit of a hectic morning. But, there's been a number of kind of cool Halloweens over the years. And, I got into those stories, starting into those stories in my Halloween getting ready for video. So, which gets into, sure, I do my book preview, but I also get into like some paranormal equipment and then decorations and movies and things like that. So check it out. So Halloween stories. The one thing I can say about Halloween was it was a time where some of my mom's talent really came through. She was always, she's great at sewing, and so it was a time that she would go out, she would find us, we'd go to the craft store, or wherever. Back in the day, I think you could even go to like a department store and kind of rifle through some of the different patterns, and would make us items, would make us costumes. And so, like one year I was a clown, I was a devil, I was a mummy one year. That one didn't take a pattern. That was kind of like wrapping me up in a bunch of bandages, which is kind of cool. My sister was a box of cornflakes one year. That was kind of cool. She was like, I want to be a box of cornflakes. My mom made her a box of cornflakes that she got into. I was a baseball player one year. I told the story in the other video about when I was 12 years old and dressing up as Benjamin Franklin, where basically I wasn't going to go out that year. I was 12, but my friend Steve came over. He's like, let's go out. And I was happy that he did, but basically I just took like this colonial hat that I had, put some white filler under there for the hair, and then I was wearing glasses at that age. So I just went around and said I was Ben Franklin. So it worked, we got candy, I guess. There was a lot of fun times, along with making the costumes, when we were younger like that. Sometimes my mom would put together like a little Halloween party, so I remember like bobbing for apples and doing some like fun little games, all dressed up in our costumes with the other kids from the neighborhood. So I remember there's a picture out there, and I've been trying to find the picture. I know I have it somewhere, but there's some other. There's one on my Facebook. Go to my Facebook. There's different. Under Halloween through the years, you can see some of the different costumes. And there's a picture that I'm looking for that complements or goes with another one that's there, where I think we're actually bobbing for apples in the picture. But there's another one where we're on the back patio or the deck, and we're all in our different costumes. And there's somebody that's a pirate, and there's a witch, and a bunch of different stuff. So we did stuff like that. Now the one year, the last costume that my mother made for me, I was actually in high school. No, I wasn't going out trick-or-treating, but I think I was 16 years old at the time, and we were I was working at Taco Bell, and we were told that we could dress up for Halloween and come in a costume instead of our work uniform to work at Taco Bell. So I asked my mom if she could make me as a bag of M&Ms, and sure enough, she made a fantastic replica of a bag of M&Ms. And I guess my nieces have used it since then, but there's a picture of that one on my Facebook too, in that category. So I show up at Taco Bell as a bag of M&Ms, and shit you not, and this was not arranged at all. There were 2 other people that were working that day that were dressed as single M&Ms. So everybody thought that we had planned that I was going to be the bag, and I was going to be like the father to the little M&Ms that were running around. But no, it was completely unplanned. It was just like one of those things that the universe puts together that's just like really cool. So yeah, so that was the last time I like really that my mom did that. I mean, I've dressed up since then. Like for a couple of years there, I was dressing up as a vampire. So there's a photograph of my son and I. He's got like this skull thing down the front of him, dressed in a suit and looking just kind of like creeper guy. And I'm done up as the vampire. So yeah, so Halloween's always kind of been fun. I've always had a good time with it. There's a lot of people who try to throw like this evil slant on it, and I'm not into all of that. I mean, there's 2 sides to it. There's the side that condemns Halloween because I think it's all evil, and then there's the people that are like trying to do evil things on Halloween. It's like, no, I mean, come on, let's get back to what it was. And basically it's kind of a mesh of 2 holidays into one, where and you get that, when cultures tried to proselytize and things like that back in the day. It's like, well, we have our holidays, you have your holidays, we want you to follow our holidays, and so we'll go along with yours for a while. And so while the Catholic Church at the time would try to proselytize and get the people, the native people there, basically in England. So they're trying to get like the Celts and the Druids and all those, to follow along with their All Saints Day. They were doing their celebration against the dead to try to scare off the evil spirits by dressing up. And so the way the Catholics try, well, dress up as your favorite patron saint, but we'll do your ghosts and ghouls and stuff too, and it just kind of all meshed together. So now we have Halloween. Yeah, so I mean, we're supposed to be scaring off the evil spirits, not inviting them in. So I always tried to, I usually did like a creepy type of slam. I mean, yeah, okay, there's a bag of M&Ms one year, and there's another year that I was a baseball player, but usually, I liked, doing the mummy or the vampire or something like that. Yeah, so with my kids, I have the great 10-minute costume with Cameron that I described in my last video, where I did them up as a pirate. Literally took like 10, maybe 15 minutes tops to I knew he had the pants that could pull up and look like knickers if you pulled them up like that. And then just found a big billowy white shirt. We had the hat, a couple of little accessories, that just boom, he was a pirate. Usually we had like a costume box sort of thing, but as I got a little bit older, Chase would be a ninja, Ariel was a gypsy one year. Cameron he's been a bunch of different Naruto characters. He's been Naruto, he's been Gaara, he's been Kakashi. Now that one was a trick, doing his hair as Kakashi, because it's like all sticking up, like slanted toward the one side. That took a lot of time with some hairspray. But it was always fun trying to get him to look like the different Naruto characters. With Gaara making the gourd, I'm like taking a couple of balloons with paper mache and trying to make the gourd, which I guess fell apart halfway through his trick-or-treating, and then because the outfit that he was wearing, people thought he was a Jedi. Sorry. Yeah, so I mean, other stuff, around Halloween, When I was a teenager, we used to do a bit of haunted house hopping. Me, Ron, Scott, sometimes Dennis would be along. I guess a couple stories from there. There was this one year, we would usually do our haunted house hopping around the Akron, Canton area. Every once in a while, we'd go up into Cleveland. We did a haunted forest up in Cleveland, and there was one. It was actually down the street from my grandparents. I don't think we actually ventured in. I think we just hung out in the parking lot. It was like so dang busy. We were like, let's check out the haunted forest, and so we went up. I think it was in Avon. We were way the heck up there, you know. But usually it was Akron, Canton area, and there was this one haunted house one year where it was me, Ron, Scott, and I think it was the time we had this girl, Charlotte, with us. And we're walking through, and it's busy. You know, everybody's like queued up in this long line through it. So, yeah, the special effects were good. And there was, and all of that, but it was a bit aggravating. You weren't getting that kind of thrill out of it because of all the people that were there. And as we're walking through, I noticed this girl, like, far up ahead of us, get scared. She jumps, screams, and it's like, oh, what happened there? So I'm kind of watching and observing as we're getting closer and getting closer, and I'm like, you know, I think something jumped out at her over there. It looks like there might be a wall up there. We get closer. It's like, yeah, there's some sort of divider or something there. I bet you, somebody is hiding behind that to try to scare us. So, as we get up there, we're creeping up, because again, we're in this line. As we come up to this divider, it's like, yep, it's there. You know, I just whipped around real quick. Wow! And the guy behind there jumped. He's like, ah! So I scared the guy that was supposed to be scaring us. Yeah, it was. That was pretty funny. So I usually don't get scared all that much at haunted houses. You know, even like the jump scares that are supposed to, you know, give you that sort of thing. I don't really get that. I'm like, you know, my senses are like all on alert, and I'm just kind of like watching and observing and you know, checking out what's going on. These people will let me over. I mean, I could be rude and go up there and cross over the line I'm not supposed to cross. If you want me to, I'll do that. Traffic, it's a pain. Well, you know, they won't let me over, guy. It would be nice if they would. Or push up a little bit. Come on, let's drive. Sorry, pardon the interruption. And I'm gonna go over here and be an asshole because these people are ridiculous to me. Oh well. This is what I hate about the morning commute, is the ridiculousness of the traffic and people driving and people being rude, and I don't even know what that guy's doing. It's alright, it's interrupting my story. You know, I get on a roll and people are being ridiculous. Don't know what to say. So we'll do this and then we'll get back into storytelling. I guess traffic on the Beltway must be backed up. Yeah. Yep, that's what it is. I left a little bit late this morning. Not really, actually, if I think about it, it's only like 5 or 10 minutes late, which shouldn't be that big of a deal. But, you know, and I actually talked about this in the video yesterday that got erased, is that ever since, I don't know, like the last month, traffic has just been a lot worse lately. There's been a lot more accidents, you know, heavier traffic, and it hasn't been since the beginning of the school year. It was fine when the school year started, and I know that traffic does get a little heavier when the school year picks up, but it's just really been like maybe the last 3 weeks. We're in the middle of October, so I don't know, it's nuts. In any case, what I was saying was that, you know, when it comes to haunted houses, I don't scare easily. I can walk through a haunted house and never get jump scared once. The last the last haunted house I was at a couple of years ago, it was not until the very, very end. You know, it was a good haunted house. It was in Bowie. They did the baseball stadium up as a haunted house. A lot of great effects. They had some great actors in there. You know, a lot of great props. It was really good. But I just don't jump scare like that. My senses are way on alert, and I'm watching for it. But it wasn't until the very, very end where we're walking down this short hallway, basically toward the exit. I think the exit was like around another turn or whatever, and it was like this puff of air that blew in my face that I just wasn't expecting, and I jumped at that. Not from any of the characters or the crap that pops out at you. It was from a puff of air in my face, of all things. So, but you know, but they're fun, you know, and I have fun with them. We used to, on occasion, do up like a little haunted house. Like I remember we did one in my friend Dennis's basement for his younger sister and her friends. You know, I mean, with the little stuff that we had, it's fun. Not something I do a lot anymore, but back in the day when I was in high school, that was we did that. We could go to, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 a year at least, or we'd do like on a weekend night, we'd see how many we could get in one night. Because of the driving around, we could like maybe get 2. But you know, and it cost money, and we were high schoolers, so it's not like we were loaded or anything to go to a bunch. But in any case, that's some haunted house or some Halloween tales for you, which included haunted houses. And you know, hey, if you like me rambling on about silly stuff like that, you know, please go ahead, give the video a thumbs up, leave some comments below. Tell me some of your Halloween tales, and we'll chat a little bit. So, and if you haven't yet, please, of course, subscribe. Till next time, drink some coffee.